New Orleans Saints week 11 is over, and they come out with a big win, 27-20 over the LA Rams, who lost Matthew Stafford in, I believe, early fourth quarter. Yeah, I think the early fourth quarter. So the Saints come away with the win, 27-20. But if you want Saints recaps, come right here to the TaeVi Network after games. Or if you want Saints predictions before the game, I do drop my prediction of who I think will win and in the score predictions on my Instagram at _TaeVisuals and the TaeVisuals Network. But I predicted the Rams were going to win this game 24-17. Obviously, I was wrong. I'm kind of glad I was wrong. But I said this game was going to be an ugly game, and I said I don't know how the Rams were going to win this game. But I thought they were going to win it because my trust in the Saints just was gone. But I said the Saints should win this game, but I just didn't trust them with all the injuries and the inconsistent offense. But the Saints got to win. They beat a team they should have beat, and because they just were a better team. And with Matthew Stafford going out, that made it even more easier, I believe, in that fourth quarter because they took away that pass game because Matthew Stafford did have success in the air. But this was a pretty even game throughout. They had both teams possess the ball. The Saints possessed the ball for 31 minutes. The Rams possessed the ball for 29 minutes, 28-53, so basically 29 minutes. Both teams had 4 sacks. The Saints were 4 for 11 on third downs. The Rams were 5 for 14 on third down. And both teams passed the ball 28 times. That's crazy. You probably don't get a stat like that all the time. And the Rams ran the ball 30 times. The Saints ran the ball 24 times. So it was a pretty even game. Both teams had about 330 yards, I believe. But what was the difference? The Saints only committed 2 penalties, and the Rams committed 6 for 55 yards. The Saints was only 2 for 15 yards. So Dennis Allen, he said they were going to improve and clean the game up. They cleaned the game up. This was one big thing that stood out to me. When they cleaned it up and they don't turn the ball over, it's a recipe to win the game because you're taking care of the ball. You're not making big mistakes. Even if the offense isn't flowing greatly, they're not turning the ball over. They're not fumbling, not throwing interceptions, and they're not beating themselves with penalties, holding, false starts. We seen it last game against the Steelers. False start on the first play of the game. The first play of the game. So, way to clean it up. I've been on Dennis Allen all year, but they committed fewer penalties. So, because they were third in lead in penalties, I believe, coming into this game. So, I can give props when due. Good team coaching by cleaning up those penalties. Now, I want to get to this. They had some kind of, I think the Saints left some points on the board with some crazy play calls, but I want to get to Andy Dalton because he does have the starting job, and he got the starting job again this week. Solid game by Andy Dalton. Made some good throws. Big play down to Olave with Aaron Donald coming down on his neck, about to ruin that play. He made a perfect throw, led him. He didn't have to stop for the ball. Led Olave right to the end zone. And I just want to say, Olave, offensive rookie of the year. This man will be a stud going. He's going to be better and better. All he has to do is just improve on holding the ball after hits, better catching traffic. But he will be a stud in my opinion. And that was a great pickup by the Saints. So all the Saints fans who's talking about this first round pick this year, let it go. They have Chris Olave. He's going to be better than whatever first-round pick they could get this year, unless it was a superstar changing quarterback. And we still have to see Trevor Penning, so I'm waiting to see that. The Saints have to get healthy. But this game, even though the Saints won this game, and right now all you could hope for is the Saints winning games because you can't worry about how the wins come. But I was unimpressed with this game because the Rams are a bad team. They have a couple great players. They have Aaron Donald, who's amazing, Hall of Famer first ballot. Jalen Ramsey, he's a good cornerback, but he has his days, and he had one of those days today where he got burnt, and he gave up. I think he gave up 2 touchdowns, one to Chris Olave and one to Juwan Johnson. And the connection with Andy Dalton and Juwan Johnson, 5 straight games with a touchdown, even though that one in Baltimore. But hey, 5 straight games with a touchdown. Juwan Johnson is filling that role at the tight end, and I believe he will be our tight end one going forward. I think the Saints will have to pay him, but he's a great tight end, and I love his game. But Andy Dalton played well. He made the throws when he had to. A couple odd plays, but overall, he had a solid game, and I like that. But back to the Saints, this win not being too impressive for me because even though we got the win, and I love that, we got the win with all these injuries. Pete Warner out, Marshawn Lattimore out, Marcus Davenport, Cam Jordan, the Iron Man. Even though I've been critical of the D-line, mainly those two, Marcus Davenport and Cam Jordan, the veteran. But the Rams are a bad team. Matthew Stafford going out. Cooper Kupp not playing. I know the Saints gave up a big 60-yard bomb, but they don't give those up too much. But I wasn't too much worried about that because that was Chris Harris Jr. Just underestimated the guy's speed. But I thought the Saints, even though I predicted the Rams would win this game, as I watched the game, in my head, I was sitting on the sofa because I was going to go to the game like I told y'all. But my fiance said she didn't want to go because the past few weeks how the Saints were playing. The tickets were $20. Anybody could get it. It wasn't even sold out. I saw a lot of empty seats. But I'm watching the game. I'm like, the Saints are going to win this. But I expected the Saints to win in more comfortably, I'll say. Even with Matthew Stafford on the field. Matthew Stafford, if he would have stayed in the game, I thought the Saints were putting pressure on them, even though both teams had 4 sacks. I think they were getting a lot of pressure. And the offense left some points on the board, I believe, in the red zone. They went 2 for 4 in the red zone. I think they could have had a couple. I think they could have hit 30 points today. So I was very disappointed by that. And you can't leave points on the board going on if you're 3-17, 4-7 now. You got to get all the points you can get. You got to get 7. Got to cash in when you're in that red zone. Get 7. Try to avoid 3. But the Saints got the win, and that's all that matters. I want to get to my player of the game. And he's on defense. Kaden Ellis filling in for Pete Warner. And boy, Kaden Ellis is filling that role perfectly. Leading the team in tackles with 11. I think he had another sack. I'm pretty sure he had another sack, but he's been great the last couple weeks. Pete Warner has been out, even though Pete Warner is a monster as well. I think they're going to have to start playing 3 linebackers and getting rid of one of these safeties who they fill in at the nickel a lot of times. I don't know if but this guy flies around the field, makes a lot of tackles, makes a lot of plays, great on blitzing. Him and Demario Davis are great on blitzes. I think Demario leads the team in sacks, but Kaden Ellis is a great player. Sideline player, not too big of a guy, but he makes plays and he's always in the right place. Doesn't miss too many tackles, and I would love to see those 3 on the field at the same time. I know that's kind of hard with 3 linebackers, but Kaden Ellis is pretty fast. Pete Warner is pretty rangy as well, and DeMario, I think he can be there to, with them 2 out there, I think you could blitz him a lot, or you could blitz Kaden as well and let Pete Warner roam the field with Kaden or vice versa. So Kaden Ellis is my player of the game. Great. Would love to see him with Pete Warner come back next to each other with Demario Davis. So that would be great for me. Dennis Allen, set that up, get it great. And once again, Alontae Taylor, great game. Love this kid, man. I love a great game. I still have to get that jersey thrown away. I got it coming. So I think he's my favorite player on the defensive end other than Lattimore. But I want to move on to the division, the NFC South division. Atlanta Falcons unfortunately beat the Bears today in a tight game. Tampa had a bye week. So the Falcons moved to 5-6. The Saints are 4-7. But the Saints own the tiebreaker over Atlanta. And Tampa owns the tiebreaker over Atlanta and the Saints. But Tampa was off, so they're still 5-5. But Tampa plays Cleveland Browns without Deshaun Watson next week. And that is a very winnable game for Tampa Bay. But you know the Saints fans are going to be rooting for the Browns. And Atlanta plays Washington. That's a toss-up winnable game for Atlanta as well. So Atlanta and Tampa Bay very well can have 6 wins next week. And the Saints obviously have the tougher opponent with San Francisco. They have to see Christian McCaffrey again this year. They have to see him twice the past few years, even though he's been injured. But they're going to see him again. They saw him earlier this year, and he gave them an L. So he's going to see them again with San Francisco with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Jimmy G, who was rumored to come to the Saints this offseason. But the Saints have the toughest opponent next week, and they're going to have to squeeze out this win because it's more than likely Tampa Bay will beat the Browns, and I guess it's a toss-up with Washington. Washington is playing very good with Atlanta and Washington, so you never know there. But the Saints will have to come out with a win because they have Tampa Bay after that, and that will be a big game for both teams because that could decide a tiebreaker if Tampa loses next week. But the Saints, I think they can control their own fate if they win their games. But one thing they're going to have to do, get healthy. They have 2 weeks to their bye week. They have this week coming up against San Fran, then Tampa Bay, and they have a bye week. If they can get to their bye week and get healthy, they can come out of their bye week and make a run late in the year and probably spring along some wins because their schedule is not tough. Let me go to their schedule right quick. Let me make sure their schedule is right. I know they play San Fran next week. That's a tough game. Tampa Bay. Division games are always tough, but I got their schedule right here. So, man, the Saints dropped some games they should have never lost, man. The Steelers game, Carolina early in the year. They had that Vikings game. They lost some games they should have won early. So it's going to be tough for them, but they have to make it happen. They have the 49ers, Buccaneers, Falcons, Browns, Eagles, Panthers. So toughest team, I think everybody could agree, is the Eagles, but the Falcons, Panthers, and Buccaneers are division games, and those games are never easy. And the Browns game, of course. Deshaun Watson will be back, so in full effect. So hopefully, not even hopefully the Saints can get, I still say hopefully, but the Saints should, in this, if they want to make the playoffs, they had 4 games right now. They had 4-7. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games left. 6 games left. They probably will have to go 5-1. To get in the playoffs, the Saints probably will have to go 5-1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games left. Yeah. They probably have to go 5-1 to get in the playoffs to finish. At least 5-1 probably. And that is tough. But maybe they don't because the division is stressed. I'm thinking of the wild card right now. But if they want to win the division, they can go 5-1 or 6-0 if they want to win the division. But that's going to be tough to do with the Eagles on your schedule, San Fran on your schedule. San Fran on the schedule with division opponents. So we'll see. Overall, the Saints got to win. You got to be happy with that. But wasn't too impressive with me, but it's okay. They got to win, and that's all you can ask for right now from the Saints. They got to win, even though their whole defense was practically injured. But we'll see y'all next week in San Fran. Y'all have a good day. It's always good when the Saints get a win. Who that?